What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And, for better or for worse, Sony's expected purchase of Kadokawa does appear to be happening, which means that FromSoft and many other properties would suddenly appear under the Sony umbrella.
Whoop-de-doo!
Oh, goody.
As you can see here, Kadokawa is apparently pushing for this acquisition deal. Both companies are now at the formal stage of negotiation, and Sony stock prices are at an all-time high in anticipation of this deal going through. That means that sooner or later we can expect the Elden Ring and Bloodbourne and a shitload of other properties as well, including a metric ton of manga. All of that will fall under the Sony umbrella. So, the Elden Ring will suddenly be subjected to the whims of the same company who pushed out games like The Last of Us 2, God of War Ragnarok, and Spider-Man 2. Heaven help us if they bring in the consultancy companies like Sweet Baby, such as they did on Spider-Man. Heaven help us if they do that with the Elden Ring. That would be a major middle finger to the fans.
Hey, right back at you, bitch.
Kadokawa's employees are reportedly pretty thrilled, though, about this potential buyout. They aren't happy with the leadership at the company, and with all of these articles coming out about it, at this stage, it seems like the acquisition is just about a done deal. They're just hammering out the specifics from what I can gather.
Oh no, not again.
So yeah, once again, we have the opportunity to witness a beloved IP fall under the umbrella of a soulless corporation that doesn't care about it beyond trying to exploit it for as much cash as possible. As I said before, this will also affect manga and anime, but as a gamer, my main focus is on what this means for the likes of the Elden Ring. That was a fairly universally beloved game. I mean, the freaking DLC for it was nominated for the Game of the Year at the Game Awards and has a chance to win today. There's simply no words to describe quite how upset gamers would be if the Elden Ring, in a sequel, suddenly got The Last of Us 2 treatment and fundamentally changed the game in order to promote a social agenda.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Alright, make sure that you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. We have been getting a ton of new subscribers recently, which is why it is now time to ask the burning question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
We now have 105,000 space pirate a-holes in this buccaneer crew of ours, and, as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subscribers, we add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the newcomers. This time, we are adding the Astral Express from Honkai Star Rail at the request of one of you guys. If any of you have recommendations for future ships, drop them in the comment section below, and I will add them to my long list. Super Chats get bumped to the top of the list, and also, for your reference, I've added an alphabetical list of all the ships already in the fleet to the description of the video. But, in any event, thanks to everyone for being here.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
But alright, let's talk about this potential acquisition, which sounds as though it's basically a done deal for Sony and Kadokawa. And then we're going to talk about the potential ramifications of this deal and what it means for like the Elden Ring and Bloodbourne and some of these other titles. This recent tweet here from Twitter account Pure PlayStation does a nice job of summarizing a recent Bloomberg article that discusses the deal. It says, Sony has been trying for many years to acquire only the anime and manga divisions of Kadokawa. As a gamer, this is interesting because you'd think that with Sony being one of the premier companies in video games, that they would be extremely interested in FromSoftware and some of the other studios that the company owns, like Acquire, for example. But apparently, Sony's main area of interest was the anime and manga. I suppose that with the manga and anime studios and properties that Sony already owns, this would give Sony a damn near monopolistic control over the industry, which would be extremely bad for consumers, but extremely good for them. I'm not sure what the laws look like in Japan, which both of these are Japanese companies, so this purchase would not be subject to laws in Western countries. In any case, reading on, the tweet says that a formal letter of intent for Sony to buy the anime and manga divisions was submitted, but Kadokawa wants the whole company to be purchased, including FromSoftware, Spike Chunsoft, Acquire, and more. Microsoft, Tencent, and Kakao were apparently interested in buying Kadokawa as well, but Kadokawa preferred to be bought out by a company native to Japan. Kadokawa's stock price soared as soon as the merger was revealed. And this is something that always happens when these sorts of deals begin to be discussed. Investors know that if a company ends up being bought out, that the entity buying them out has to pay investors the share prices of the stock. It's typically a way to make some free money if you time it right, but really what this does is it adds some credence to what we're hearing, that this is essentially a done deal. People investing their money, it's one thing for someone like me to be able to swoop in and go, hey, this looks like it's going to be happening. But these people are putting their money where their mouth is. It's very telling when a lot of people do that. It seems like this is indeed something that is going to happen. But as for the ramifications of the deal, I'm torn on how I feel about Sony buying the company. On the one hand, Sony might push for a few titles that have been neglected to suddenly be given new life. We've all been clamoring for a new Bloodbourne game for a long while now. Getting a sequel would be incredible, but the risk of seeing Sony bow to the woke activists infesting the industry as they've done in the past and damaging a brand like Bloodbourne or Elden Ring is very real. And the Elden Ring is one of those titles that absolutely acts like glue holding the industry together in many ways. There are very few games that have come out in this decade that were as universally beloved as Elden Ring. In fact, the only one I can think of off the top of my head would be Baldur's Gate 3. There have been some great games for sure, but those truly special ones that everyone loves have been scarce. The Last of Us was one such game from the prior decade. That one was universally beloved, and look at what Sony did to the sequel of that game. For whatever reason, Sony has permitted elements of the West to gain a foothold in their company. The HR ladies with their purple hair and their incessant screeching, they have gained too much power over the company, which is why we saw Andromeda in God of War. They decided to have a black character in their Norse mythology, which took us out of the experience. The Last of Us 2 absolutely shoved LGBT garbage down our throats when we just wanted a continuation of a story that people pretty much universally loved. Spider-Man 2 was a mess for a whole host of reasons, and it was a confirmed Sweet Baby Inc. title, and actually now that I think about it, so was God of War Ragnarok, and that is unsurprising that those games were both Sweet Baby games, considering how plain they made Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2, and how, once again, they decided to add a black character to Norse mythology, just out of nowhere, completely taking people out of the game. That is unsurprising that these were Sweet Baby Inc. games. That is the sort of stuff that they recommend to these developers. So, while the employees of Kadokawa might be excited for this change to occur because they aren't happy with the leadership of the company, gamers are and should be approaching this with trepidation and maximum skepticism. But whether we like it or not, it sounds as though the Sony purchase of Kadokawa is just a matter of time. we can only cross our fingers that they don't foul up these franchises that we love so much. We can only cross our fingers that they don't mess it up. But I'm going to leave it there. What do you think about this impending acquisition? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.